It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by AgileDad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. One of my students recently sent me a link to an article, and I don't know whether I'm supposed to laugh or cry. It's one of those, right? And I'm all about a good hook. I'll tell you that right now. I love a good hook. And with my recent advent and starting to teach the Agile Coaching Skills Certified Facilitator class from the Scrum Alliance, this title definitely caught my attention. It says, I use this coaching method to solve 90% of my problems, and it works every time. Okay. This, for me, right out of the gate, I feel a little bit icky. I feel like a used car salesperson is trying to turn me on to something that they're trying to get off the lot desperately. I'm not getting good vibes, and I want to be careful. It's not that I don't think the article is probably powered with good intent. I'm just not getting a good vibe right out of the start. So I first learned the word hedgehog when I was 24. I'd never seen one before, but I always respected their efficiency. They have one trick. They roll up into a spiky ball and it helps against any threat. Coincidentally, at age 24, I learned a coaching technique called chunking. Okay, let's pause there. I did some review online and I couldn't exactly find chunking as one of the lead coaching techniques in any of my domains that I frequently visit. So that drew me to want to learn more about what the intent was or what they were trying to say. And they gave two examples. The first example they gave was called chunking up. Now, chunking up is trying to look at the problem from a broader perspective. It places the issue in its place and eliminates the sense of helplessness. So for me, when I thought of this, my first thought was if this is done incorrectly or communicated incorrectly, this could be demoralizing, or it could even sound like you're trying to step above someone. And I didn't want it to fall into that trap. So the example they give is I just can't write anything well. I've tried everything and it never works. And the young lady answers, wow, nothing at all? Not even your name? And the guy's like, don't sass me. I meant reports. Okay. While they did get to the core of the problem, that this person can't write reports well, they didn't mean that they can't write anything. I think that when you generalize like that or put someone on a spot, it could become an attack and it could cause some tension, especially in certain cultures. I just don't know that it made me feel comfortable. While it did get to the core of the problem, it got right to the heart of the problem. I don't know that it's a technique that I would actively promote. The second is chunking down or specification. When you look at the problem from a narrower perspective, it determines the exact source of the problem and untangles the issue. Now, this one, I call it specialization. It This works, but sometimes you have to be careful because you run a risk if you're doing specialization or specification that you're going to draw people into putting their problem in a bucket instead of letting them openly tell you what's wrong so that you can dissect it. So, an example, same example, writing is very frustrating. I can't get it right at all. What exactly are you struggling with? Ideation, making an outline, typing on a keyboard, formatting? Yeah. I guess I can't get my ideas organized. Okay, well then yeah, you got to the crux of the problem, but you could have led that person into one of those things that you said being the issue instead of the real problem. So for me, sometimes there's a time where you want to identify and talk about what the issue is, and there are other times where talking about what the real issue is could cause more static and noise than that takes you away from the real problem than getting to the core of the real problem. So for me, I like to use a different set of words, and everybody knows exactly where I'm going to go with this. The fail-safe words that I use are help me understand. So let's try that same exact rationalization, the same exact problem, and let's use help me understand and see where it takes us. I just can't write anything well. I tried and it never works. Help me understand. What parts of the writing process are you struggling with? Where do you feel the most pain? Or help me understand. What might I be able to do to help give you some guidance to get you through your creative block? Wow. Both those answers were 100 times more solid, right? So for me, sometimes instead of generalizing or instead of being specific and going by specification, sometimes neither of those, while they could identify the problem, sometimes neither of those are going to get you to exactly where you need to be. I find that the technique of help me understand really does drive home that you have personal feelings and goodwill and good intent towards solving a problem without making someone feel awkward, uncomfortable, out of place, or feeling like that their solution or that their problem isn't a legitimized problem. You can still gather the information that you need in order to make a credible decision without making the other person feel bad for giving it to you. I suppose that's what it all boils down to, right? It's a little taste, I guess, a little touch of humility and empathy combined with a stick of butter, because everything good starts with a stick of butter, and a little bit of patience. And I think if you put all that together, you can get to the root cause of any problem. That's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at AgileDad.com. We'd love to hear from you. As always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.